Okay, it looks like we are live. Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are talking about women's health, wealth, and wellness today. I'm Jodie Solberg. I am a mental wellness professional. I am a licensed and certified master hypnotherapist, and I help people to be able to break through all those subconscious blocks and barriers and navigate through things like anxiety and trauma and burnout. And I'm also really, really passionate about women's overall wellness, that holistic wellness that has to do with our mental, our physical, our emotional and spiritual, and our financial. And so I have my good friend here with me who is all about those things as well, Myrna. And so, Myrna, I'm going to pass it to you to introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are and what you're excited to talk about today.
Okay, well, my name is Myrna Laine-Hyppolite, and I'm a financial wellness coach. I'm a wealth strategist, and I work with powerhouse women to turn their amazing income into their first $1 million in net worth, even if they're new to investing in the stock market and are not financial professionals. I firmly believe that financial wellness is essential. Managing your finances can be a form of self care. And I work with women to help them really minimize stress that comes with managing your money and build wealth by investing in the stock market.
Fantastic. And I know that we wanted to talk about this, especially because it is Women's History Month, and women have a long history of a lot of challenges around finances and also around self care, and not allowing us to feel like it's selfish or like we can't empower ourselves to take control of our finances and take control of our well-being. And so, Myrna, what do you see in the work that you do in the financial realm going on with women as we're trying to grow and evolve and figure out how to be empowered in our finances and all of our lives?
Well, I think in honor of Women's History Month and the fact that I work with women, a lot of times what I see is stress and a sense of avoidance, and women not necessarily dealing or wanting to deal with their money, or sometimes not even thinking that they're capable of doing a good job in managing their money. And research has shown, for example, that investing in the stock market, women are actually better investors than men because of our approach and how we do things and how we look at things. So we're slightly better investors. And I firmly believe that if your money house is not in order, the rest of your house is not going to be in order. And one of the major statistics say that there's a big percentage of women overall who feel stressed out about money, who have a sense of stress when it comes to their overall money. And it doesn't have to be that way. If you have the right tools, the right guidance, and the right support, aligning your sense of wellness when it comes to your money is very, very important, because you have to, in order to reach your financial wellness, there are certain key things that you must do, right? And it all goes in tandem with, your mental wellness.
Absolutely. You said something really key there, I think, which is that sometimes women feel like they aren't even in control or they aren't even capable of doing these things. And I feel like in so many different areas, we get disconnected and we really feel at times like we can't do things. And a lot of times that is coming from those outside societal expectations and pressures. And it's also the fact that we tend to be natural caregivers and we're doing a lot. We have a lot on our plates. We're not realizing how important it is to really step into that role of being our own advocate and being really empowered to take care of ourselves so that we can show up in all the different areas of our lives with all the different roles that we play at our best. And financially speaking, that's just one piece of that puzzle when we're talking about feeling like we're out of control or like we don't know what we don't know, right? And sometimes that can be really intimidating or overwhelming. It's like that with healthcare as well, and mental health and physical health and all these different aspects of well-being. A lot of times, like you said, we just are in denial. We try to put it off. We try to ignore that it's there until those signs and symptoms, whether again it's emotional, physical, or financial, are undeniable. And we really have to deal with them. And so it's always so much better to put on that growth mindset hat and say, okay, I can learn, I can grow, I can figure this out. And so that's something that I really work with my clients on, and really empowering them to say, I can reach out for support. I don't have to do it all alone, because that's one of those pressures that I see that have been put on women for so long. So we're supposed to do all the things and do it by ourselves. And so us not being in isolation anymore, us saying, hey, I can ask for help. I can reach out to somebody like Myrna who can help me learn how to invest. Because like you said, once we do, we're naturally savvy investors when we arm ourselves, right? We empower ourselves with that information and those skills. And so I see a lot of parallels in what you're talking about to lots of other areas of women's lives as well, of us really needing to own our power and step into that and say, hey, I can do this. I just maybe need to get some support or somebody to teach me how to get started.
Well, let's talk a little bit, Jodie, about mental wellness, because I think a lot of times, as women, there's a sense of a stigma when it comes to, taking care of our mental health, and not really understanding that it's all linked together, right? Because if your mental health is good and sound, then your money can be good, your physical health will be good. So let's talk a little bit about that, because I think there's a certain sense of stigma that says, okay, well, I don't need to get help. I'm okay. I'll get over this, whatever I'm feeling, and not really focusing on mental wellness. That's a key component to, your wellness overall.
Oh, absolutely. And you're so right that it's this foundation, right? It's a foundational piece, and they all build on each other. So when you think about, if anybody's familiar who's watching with, Maslow's hierarchy of needs, for example, we need to have, it's this triangle where we need to have this foundation of safety and security, and then we can build on things from there. So, when you have that financial security and stability, that physical safety and security, and that emotional foundation, which all requires a lot of really basic self-care. When we're talking things like food and water and a roof over your head, and feeling like you're safe in your environment. There's a lot of pieces to that that's just really foundational. And then we can add, right? Then we can have that and then some. Then we can work on our relationships with others, with ourselves, with money. We can work on getting to those higher levels and learning those skills, like how to invest, and we can start building wealth. In order to start building wealth, and this is the same when we're talking about mental wellness and physical wellness, we need to have just like basic financial health in order, and then we can start to build onto that. And so with mental wellness, very similar. A lot of times there's things that we need to take care of to have those basic fundamentals and that foundation in order, so then we can build the house on top of that. And so helping people to be emotionally regulated, to help them to be able to address trauma that they may be dealing with, or anxiety that they might be dealing with. There are a lot of things that come up for us around money, that can be from our upbringings, and could be money mindset challenges. You and I are both in business, and so we know that when somebody's going into business for themselves too, there's a lot of challenges, and there's a lot of mindset things that come up. And so we need to build those foundational pieces, and then we can add, and we can build the house, and we can put all the pretty things in it. We need to make sure that, like you said, emotionally, mentally, physically, and then financially, that we're stable so that then we can do that. And so, yeah, I see that a lot with that financial piece when people have these financial goals and they can't figure out why they can't get themselves to do those things. A lot of times it's because we need to work on that mindset and mental wellness piece so that they then can be in that place to be able to build up.
Right, because one of the key building blocks that I usually tell my clients when it comes to attaining financial wellness, which is, that sense of overall well-being when it comes to your money, is having a positive money mindset. So a lot of times growing up, how we think about money can be influenced by, what our parents told us, things like money doesn't grow on trees, or if you think that money is the root of all evil, or you hear about the Bible verse about it's easier to go through the needle, the eye of a needle, instead of a rich man getting into paradise. So there are a lot of things that we learn that we think, hey, they don't necessarily associate positive things with money. But when you shift your mindset, and part of what I teach my clients is ways to kind of shift that mindset, right? Because sometimes things happen to you even in your adulthood, right, that affect how you think about money. So for example, if you're going up for that promotion and you don't get it, you may think that, hey, you're capped in terms of your salary possibilities. Well, that's not necessarily true. So I think that, cultivating a positive money mindset by reiterating things like, I'm not a woo person by any means, but really having saying affirmations, things that help, telling yourself that, hey, you can actually do it, I see makes a world of difference between the client that I have that says, hey, I got a positive money mindset, or I believe that I can do this, even if I may not know now how to invest, for example, in the stock market, but having a positive money mindset makes a difference between that client and what that client will achieve, and the other one that doesn't have that belief and hasn't fostered that just yet.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I completely agree with you about shifting those narratives, shifting the ways that we talk to ourselves is so important. And when we are telling ourselves, I can't, or I'm horrible at managing money, or I'm not good at that, our subconscious believes us. And a lot of the work that I do is helping people to create those affirmations that are really believable. And it's not about anything, saying, oh, I'm a, multimillionaire with 6 houses or and a yacht or something like that. That's not the kind of affirmations I talk about. The kinds of affirmations I talk about are those ones that your subconscious will believe you and will get on board with. Because a lot of times what's happening is we have those blocks, like you said, whether it was things from our upbringing in childhood or adulthood and experiences that we've had that might have been negative, we start to have this negative self-talk and we're telling ourselves over and over again, I can't, I'm horrible at, I'm not good at, things like that nature. And so the types of affirmations that I teach people to shift that money mindset is just I am learning. I can develop those skills. I'm figuring it out. I can get help from someone who can teach me how to do this. So that's what I mean by that growth mindset of shifting to that. And that is absolutely proven to be really effective because your subconscious, what happens is about 95% of what goes on. I always think of your subconscious as back here, like behind the curtain, it's like who's running things behind the show. And so when we're talking about, what's going on in the background there, it's all of those critical thoughts, those things that we're putting ourselves down about. And so really key to get that part of your mind on board. And how you do that is by giving it a job and saying, hey, we're working on this, we're figuring it out, we're learning how to do these things. And that is going to serve and support you so much more because you are capable, right? We all are capable of learning no matter what our age, and all women can learn how to be more knowledgeable and better at managing their money. It's just a matter of seeking out the information ourselves and getting support for that. because like you said, we're not typically taught. These are not things that they teach you in school, unfortunately. And a lot of us didn't have the best role models for having either a positive money mindset or money management or both. Because like you said, we hear all those sayings growing up, and that's what gets stuck in the background in our minds, are things like money is the root of all evil, or you have to work. This was one of mine, back from my childhood, was you have to work really hard to make money. And so what did I do? I burnt myself out making money, and it wasn't sustainable. And so for me, it was really key to shift that mindset around that, and to just really heal my relationship with money so that I could do things like get out of debt and begin to build wealth, versus just being stuck in the cycle over and over again. That was the pattern that I had created for myself as an adult, where it was, like you said, Myrna, the combination, right, of the things from childhood and just the lack of knowledge, because we are kind of thrown out in the world most of the time, and said, okay, figure it out. And it's a lot of trial and error. And then what do? We beat ourselves up for making missteps or getting ourselves in poor financial situations. And so I love what you do, Myrna, in helping to educate women and empower women to really learn and develop those skills and take control. So I would love for you to share, what are some of the things that you do when someone comes to you and says, help, I have no idea what I'm doing, but I want to learn.
Okay. Well, I think it runs a spectrum for me from, somebody coming to me and saying, you know what, Myrna, I just don't have my money act together. I'm making good money, but I really don't know where that money's going and what's happening. And I feel like I could do better. Or I then will have somebody that comes say, you know what, Myrna, I feel like it's important for me to learn how to invest in the overall stock market. But I don't know how, and I feel like it's going to take a lot of time. So my job is, whichever spectrum or whatever problem that person's trying to solve when it comes to their money, is to be able to give them actionable steps, small steps that they can actually take, and where they can see progress all along the way. Because then that helps reinforce your belief that you can actually do this. You can actually improve your money situation, or you can actually see, hey, I have made progress. I have a portfolio now. Because a lot of the women that I work with don't really have portfolios or haven't really been invested in the stock market. Teaching them how to do that and showing them, hey, this is a result. I have results that come from my particular actions. And so I think it's really important, which is why the name of my company is called Empower Financial Wellness, to be able to empower women and to have them do it on their own, and to be able to know that, hey, I can actually do this by getting the right tools, getting the right support, getting the right education. Then I can see results in my life, because wealth is something that's attainable, right? And how I'm going to define wealth is really, you pretty much own more than what you owe. So your net worth is higher than what you owe. Because if you owe more than you actually own, then you're in the negative. So you're not building wealth. So being able to build wealth by increasing your assets, increasing your savings, increasing your investments, increasing, the equity in your house. Those are the types of things, reducing your debt. Those are the types of things that help you increase wealth. And by default, right, once you get your financial acting in together and you increase your wealth, by default, that's going to increase your sense of wellness. Because when I refer to financial wellness, I say it's all about your financial well-being, your ability to absorb a financial shock or an emergency and resort to, that you can say, hey, I can, if I want to take the day off today, I can take the day off today. If I don't want to work 10 years down the line, I don't have to work. If I want to be able to provide for, my aging parents, to be able to pay, my kids' college tuition, I can do it. Because having the money to do those types of things that matter to us as women is game changer, and that influences our wealth and our wellness. Because for us as women, being able to apply our wealth to the things that matter to us is of paramount importance.
Absolutely. I love how attainable your definition of wealth is, of how approachable the way that you speak about finances is, because a lot of times we see all of these different words and it's almost like another language, but the way that you communicate is very relatable. And I really appreciate that. And like you said, women have specific values and specific types of goals. And so, really looking at it as it's going to reduce your stress, it's going to reduce that anxiety, it's actually going to reduce that fear of uncertainty when you can build wealth in the way that you're describing it, because you're going to feel safe and secure and you're going to know that you're going to be able to provide for yourself and for the people that you care about. You're going to be able to take care of them if necessary as you move forward in the future. And I think that is a huge piece that is so important. You know, when we're really in debt and we're feeling like we have no control and we don't know what to do, it can really overwhelming and it can be really difficult. It can cause a lot of anxiety for people. And so knowing that you can learn and there is a way to build that in a way that's really sustainable and really approachable, it's achievable. I think that is the message that I always love hearing from you, because you do have these programs. I want you definitely to talk here in a moment about your power hours, your investing power hours, because I had the privilege of being able to sit in on one of those and participate in that. And there were women all different ends of the spectrum in terms of their knowledge and their skills when it came to money. And you were so patient and just broke it down into such basic terms of like, okay, I'm going to be with you step by step along the way. And we're going to literally just open the account. We're going to do this together, because a lot of times, and I saw that, of course, you know, I'm an observer when it comes to, you know, psychology and how people work. And so, you know, as I'm going along with you in this process, I was also paying attention to everyone around me. And what was really interesting is you could see when it would normally shut someone down, right? You would see when they would get frustrated and they would want to give up if they were doing it on their own. But because they had the supports and because they had someone that they could share with, that could then take them through and help them over that hurdle, you know, get them through that obstacle, they were able to persevere and stick it out and follow through. And it's so similar to what I do. I feel like what we do is so complementary, because I'm very much that person a lot of times for my clients. You know, I'm the one that they can share, just like people are taught in society a lot of times in our culture, talk about money, right? And a lot of our families, that was the thing, is like, you're not supposed to talk about money. And so people don't want to share. They have a lot of shame. They have a lot of guilt. They have a lot of those negative self-talk statements, like I was saying earlier, that are going through their head. And they're like, I don't want to share. I don't want to tell somebody about my debt. I'm embarrassed about that. And so, you know, the same thing with me. People share a lot of really personal, sensitive things with me. And so having someone on the outside who can see your situation from the outside, who is non-judgmental, and is going to be able to, is knowledgeable and is going to be able to help walk you through and just be there for you to help you process through as you're going through those obstacles, makes all the difference. And so many times, too many times, people think, well, my problems aren't bad enough to need help, or I am not important enough, right? They don't feel worthy enough. And I think that happens in both of our fields. And so, like I said, I want you to share, you know, what you are offering with these different programs that you have. But I wanted to share my personal experience with everyone about that, because I felt like you were so amazing at walking people through step by step and not how, you know, making them feel like they needed to be, shameful or embarrassed or guilty about these things. You were like, no, it's okay. We're starting from the beginning and I'm here. And I really appreciated that about your approach.
Thank you, Jodie. I do appreciate you attending the happy hour. I do hold these investing happy hours, making investing fun. Come with your glass of wine, your hot chocolate, whatever, and learn the basics, because a lot of times, as Jodie mentioned, it's really the basics that bog us down. If we think of it as another language, and sometimes it can be like another language, but you just gotta, learn the basics to be able to operate within the realm of that language. And so I do have another happy hour coming up on April 23rd, but right now I am enrolling people in my group coaching program, which is a 6-week program, which starts the first week of April. And it's really taking you from the basics all the way to, at the end of the program, you're going to have your own portfolio. You're going to know what's going on, and you're going to be able to invest on a recurring basis.
That sounds fantastic. Yeah. Like I said, I know how good you are from watching you work at helping walk people through those basics and then getting them up to where they can expand and evolve their investing skills. And so definitely want you to put your link in for your like link tree or whatever you would like to post. Make sure to share that because you're in open enrollment right now. And I definitely recommend that people get these things in order. I remember drowning in student loan debt and every other kind of day. And I know how that feels. And I know how it feels to be on the other side. And it is so worth it. It's worth learning. It's worth the work. And you do not have to do it alone. And I think that, again, is a huge message for today with women, is that we don't have to do things all by ourselves. We can ask for help. We can ask for support. And I'm very similar to you too, Myrna, in that I offer individual services as well as group services. And so my Clarity Collective group program is where I have a lot of work around money mindset. So I actually create, as a hypnotherapist, I create different guided recordings to help them work on money mindset. So I can do that individually, or they can come into my group program and get coaching. They can get support. They can be in a space with other women who are figuring it all out and working on their overall wellness, because we talk about success, and that includes the money mindset and that growth mindset, as well as emotional regulation and management and physical health and wellness. So it's a holistic type of approach in there. And I help people to figure out what their root causes are of some of those deeper challenges, because sometimes if we keep getting in the same habits and keep repeating the same patterns, it can be really hard to change those habits. And so habit change is something that is really a passion of mine, to help people through those anxieties and the things that come up for them and those emotional habits. I know we always hear about emotional eating. There's also emotional spending and a lot of other things that sometimes people fall into. And so to help them break those habits. And so I'll put my link in the comments as well. But is there anything else, Myrna, that you would like to share before we close out today? I think this has been an amazing conversation so far.
Amazing. I love this. I love this conversation because, it's so important, right, for us as women to focus on the wellness. That's number one. The mental wellness is key. But, you also got to take care of your wealth. We have a gap as women. There's a gender pay gap. Men tend to make more than we do, and that's just a reality. So we need to bring our A game on and go out there, build wealth, and get what's ours.
Absolutely. And realize we have more control than often we think we do when it comes to our health and well-being, and when it comes to our financial wellness. So really, get empowered, reach out for support. You have two of us right here that can help you with a lot of those types of challenges. And we did actually have a comment, so I wanted to mention that. So we have some people joining us. Thank you, everyone who's joining us live, and hello to everyone on the replay. But there was a comment that said, I appreciate the positive money mindset. I love that the goal is not to ignore our experiences. Instead, it's a shift in perspective. And I thought that that was a great comment, because it is so true that we, are where we are because of a lot of our experiences, but it isn't where we have to be moving forward. And so we do have the power of choice. We get to choose to think a new thought, to do a new thing tomorrow, to learn a new skill. And that includes really looking at our finances as a part of that self-care, and really empowering ourselves and each other. And yes, thank you so much for that comment as well. We also love to see women empowering other women, and that is exactly why we were here today. So thank you all so much for being here. Myrna, would you like to say anything to?
Thank you for joining us tonight in this discussion on women's wealth and wellness. Obviously, you can find me on Facebook under my name, as well as on LinkedIn. Those are my two major platforms. And my company website, which is EmpowerFinancialWellness.com. And Jodie, where can people find you?
People can find me on Facebook, Instagram, all the places at Psyched Up Success. And then LinkedIn, they can find me just under my name, Jodie Solberg, as well. And yes, definitely reach out to us. My website is psychedupsuccess.com. We made sure that those links are going to be in all of the comments and in the description in the video here, so you can reach out to us. I know we both are happy to answer any questions that you have. So if you're also watching this later, feel free to leave any questions that you have, or to book a call with us. If you click on our links, you can connect and send us a message, or you can book a free 30-minute call with me for a consult to explore your options for support. And I would be happy to do that as well. So thanks again, everyone, for watching. And we hope that this inspires you to empower yourself for your mental as well as financial wellness. Take care.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night.